When I was in high school, my parents worked at the local hospital, and occasionally that would mean I'd be left home alone at night with my dog. On this particular night, it was around 10 p.m. My dad had just left for work in the afternoon, and my mom was getting ready to leave. So I was just going to be alone for a few hours until my dad came home. My mom was getting ready to leave through the front door when she noticed there was a small pile of t-shirts on the floor near the stairs to the second floor. My dog liked to lie down on them. She said, "Make sure you put these in the laundry hamper," which was upstairs in their bedroom. I said sure, bent down to pick them up and threw them upstairs, and they landed in the upstairs hallway so I could pick it up from there when I went upstairs. I turned around and my mom was saying bye to our dog and giving him a few back rubs before she left. I waved at my mom as she closed the door, then called to my dog to come upstairs as I got ready for bed. We walked up the stairs together, and when I got to the top, I noticed that the laundry wasn't in the hallway. I checked my bedroom, which was right next to where I thought I had thrown them, and it wasn't there either. I walked down the rest of our upstairs hallway and into my parents' room, and there was the laundry sitting in the middle of the floor. With the layout of my parents' house, there's literally no way my throw could have landed as far as into their bedroom, perpendicular to the direction I threw it, and neither me or my dog had touched them after I threw them up. I got serious goosebumps when I saw that, and then reached down to pick up the pile of clothes. When I picked it off the floor, I noticed that underneath the pile was a burn mark on the carpet, slightly larger than a quarter, as if something hot had settled there and made an indent. There was no smoke or smell, and it looked as like it had been there for a long time. I never saw that burn mark before, and I used to go in there every day to put my own clothes in the hamper. I quickly got ready for bed after that and tried to go to sleep and not think about what just happened. Still don't have any explanation to that, and I think about it every so often. That's why I believe it was paranormal. My deceased Uncle Tim was super into Ouija boards as a teen. My dad's family are super religious, so I'm surprised he was even able to get away with this. One day, he's playing with the board and sees something in the corner of the room. It was big, completely black, and had huge horns. The only colorful thing on it was its red eyes. It scared the shit out of my poor uncle, and he put the board away, but never officially said goodbye. From that night on, my dad would have horrible nightmares if he ever slept in that house. They only stopped when he moved out for college. My uncle was sadly killed a few years into my dad's college years, and so was my aunt. Personally, I believe both of their deaths had something to do with the creature. Time skipped to many years later when I'm like 8 or 9. This was around the time I was getting my own room, and my dad wanted to get a mattress. Since at the time we weren't that rich, he wanted to get it used. I offered to give my dad the mattress their deceased brother used. The thing is, my dad didn't know this was his dead brother's mattress. My uncle didn't tell him this. He brings it to our place, and our dog is sitting outside in front of the garage. My dad starts unhooking the mattress from the top of the car, and my poor dog freaks. She stands up and just runs into the garage. My dad brushes it off, as our dog being anxious. She had a very bad experience with her previous owners, which left her a little traumatized. He starts bringing the mattress into the garage, and the poor dog is cowering in the corner, barking at it. This dog never barks. I think this was the first time my dad even heard her bark. My dad decides to bring the mattress back to my uncle's place. He was incredibly pissed. He asked his brother which room the mattress is from, and my uncle says it's Tim's mattress. Father, being the person he is, puts it back in the room and does a quick look around. He swears he saw that thing my uncle brought in with the Ouija board. We rarely visit that house now. My uncle had to move out due to health issues, and it's basically abandoned. But whenever I do go near that room, I feel I'm not alone. My sister used to have some weird shit happening at a unit she rented many years ago. She told me stories, but I never experienced them myself. One time, while visiting her, that changed. We were watching TV, and I went to the kitchen to get a drink. I walked past the bathroom door, which was open. When I came back, it was closed. She hadn't left the sofa, and there was a little dodgy tile on the bathroom floor where the door would get stuck. You would have to physically force the door over the tile. No wind, no noise, nothing. That's weird, I thought, but okay. 10 minutes later, we are both sitting there, and we hear this incredibly loud bang on the door that goes to the backyard. Scared the living fuck out of us and made us jump. We looked outside but couldn't see anything or anyone, no dog either. That seemed to be it for the evening, thank fuck, and after talking about it for a while, she went off to bed. I watched TV for a bit and then decided to call it a day as well. I turned the TV off and stood up. As I'm about to walk, I hear this noise of something heavy being dragged over wood. I look up and she has this big dolphin statue on top of her TV cabinet. The statue is just slowly moving forward across the wood by itself. It went on about 10 centimeters or so and just stopped. You could see scratches on the wood where it moved. I told her about it the next morning and she wasn't surprised. The events in the house are the only time in my life I've ever experienced paranormal stuff in person, and I have no explanation of it to this day. First, a bit of background. When my wife was young, her parents and siblings lived with one set of her grandparents. Her grandfather was murdered in the home. It happened in his bedroom upstairs. The room was primarily used as storage for the next 20 plus years. Her parents tried to sell the house multiple times, but living in a small town, everyone knew and the house would not sell, so they stayed. Years later, and while my wife and I were engaged, there was a murder trial, which I attended in support of her family. I saw the crime scene photos, which will be important later. Another 2 years later, we had 2 kids. The oldest was 6 at the time. My wife's family does not talk about the murder, and our kids do not know about the murder to this day. My father-in-law decided he wanted the room where the murder happened to be a hangout for all the grandkids when the family was in town. He put sleeping bags and a TV in the room ahead of a holiday, days-long get-together. We didn't like it, but stayed silent since the murder was a sore subject. My father-in-law also wanted all the grandkids to all sleep in there together. We were the first to arrive, and my son went into the room alone. He usually couldn't sit still long at that age, so after a couple of hours, I decided to check in on him. And here is our conversation. During the whole conversation, he was still and rigid and would not look away from the TV. "Hey, buddy, is everything okay up here?" "Yeah, okay, have fun." "Daddy, do I have to sleep in this room?" "I don't want to." "Why not? I'm not alone." Every hair in my body stood up as he said this. "Well, yeah, I'm here with you." "No, there's someone in here with us." "Are they nice?" "Mean? A grown-up, a kid?" "A grown-up." "What are they doing right now?" "They're watching you." "You have never said anything like this at your grandparents' house before, and you've been here a lot." "They don't leave this room, and I haven't never been in here before." "Where are they now?" Without looking away from the TV, he pointed in the far corner where its great-grandfather was murdered and said, "They are standing over there. They don't move much." "Okay, buddy, you don't have to stay in here," and he left the room with me. This incident still creeps me the fuck out. I used to have lots of strange stuff happen in my mom's old house, but I grew up so used to it that it honestly was just annoying after a point. Everything seemed to happen in the basement, and my sister and I always had been afraid of being alone down there throughout our childhoods. Eventually, after sharing a room with her for a few years, I decided I wanted my own room. My dad built me a bedroom in the basement. The uneasy feeling never really went away, but I eventually learned that nothing ever really hurt me while I was down there, and so it was more of just like a "oh, hey" reaction rather than "what the fuck." The first thing I experienced that truly scared me happened while I was trying to sleep in my room. We had a room in the basement under the stairs where we used to store all of our old toys. I had a music playing toy when I was really young that used to help me sleep. One night when I was about 13, I was laying in bed and I could hear the faintest melody coming from that room and quickly recognized it as the music toy. When I went to look for the toy the next day, I found it and realized it didn't even work anymore. I was about 15 or 16 when this happened. This is the one thing that generally frightened me. I was in the bathroom one evening, blow-drying my hair. I usually did this with the door open because with the door closed, it was just too loud and I'm not good with loud noises. As I'm blow-drying my hair, suddenly out of the corner of my vision out the door, I see a black silhouette of a person turn the corner and sprint towards me at full speed. I, not knowing what else to do, throw my blow-dryer towards the thing running at me and fall to the floor in a fetal position. After a couple seconds, I sit back up and absolutely nothing is there, and my blow-dryer is on fire on the floor, probably due to me throwing it into the wall outside the bathroom, I guess. This is the only time this being ever really scared me, and if I recall correctly after this incident, I stood up and said, "Hey, fuck off, that wasn't cool," and never had a malicious thing happen to me again.